How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the Expanding Universes. Today we're going to delve back into the Wacky What If series and to just explore some crazy ideas once again. And just like a disclaimer, as I like to do in every single one of these videos, these stories aren't so critical on the main storyline. It's not something that's, factually backed up. So if you see something or if you hear something I say that sounds like it just makes no sense whatsoever, then that's probably just because of creative liberty. Other than that, just sit back, relax, and enjoy. This first what if is, what if Zamasu stole Jiren's body instead? And this story really intrigued me, as what would happen if Zamasu actually took the strongest in almost a multiverse instead of Goku and made a whole Goku Black scenario? So let's get into that. Instead of taking Goku's body, Zamasu does some research of all the universes by training with the other Kais, and soon enough he learns about Jiren being possibly even stronger than his god Destruction. Zamasu would then use the Super Dragon Balls, and from there he takes Jiren's body and begins his Zero Mortals plan. Jiren Black would easily be able to snuff out all of the gods, and he would soon enough begin to destroy Trunks' timeline. Trunks would have an even harder time here, as Jiren Black would have been leagues ahead of Goku Black. It should be obvious to why a potential Jiren Black would be stronger, but let's just explore why he is way stronger. Even after Goku got stronger from the Goku Black arc, he still wasn't enough to defeat Jiren. And he wasn't even anywhere close to Jiren's power until he finally achieved Ultra Instinct. I'm going to say yes, because his Jiren side would be much more stronger. So this is why Jiren Black would definitely be stronger than Goku Black. Would Jiren Black actually allow Trunks to go back into the past for help though? I'm going to say yes, because his Jiren side would see that it would be pointless for Trunks to get reinforcements. Trunks would go back to the past with everything going as normal, but they would all have a harder time trying to figure out that Jiren Black was Zamasu. When hearing about this Jiren Black, Whis would actually remember that there was a mortal that had surpassed the gods, and instead of investigating Zamasu, they investigate Jiren first. Goku, Beerus, and Whis would find Jiren helping out the Pride Troopers, and after Beerus makes his presence known, Jiren would ask what they want. Goku would be surprised to feel an immense pressure from this guy, and of course, Goku would challenge him, and Jiren would already be annoyed that he's being questioned, so he'd easily knock Goku out. Beerus and Whis would explain that a mysterious threat had arrived in the future that had shared the same face as him. Jiren would tell them that he has no intention to harm other universes. His job contradicts that. Before leaving, Jiren would want to see this imposter for himself, and they head back to Universe 7, where they would confront Jiren Black. Jiren would be angered by this imposter and would face off against Jiren Black, and soon enough, Jiren Black is sent back into the future. After the fight, Jiren would tell the group that this imposter's fighting style and techniques were like his, but also like a different variation. The group then investigate the time rings from Universe 10, and Jiren would go with them, and he'd easily be able to put 2 and 2 together, and he'd go up to Zamasu straight up and tell him whatever he's planning to do, change it, or he'll regret it. Zamasu would be shocked that he was found out, and Zamasu would try to end Jiren, but Jiren would easily knock him out. Jiren wouldn't kill Zamasu, but he would inform the God of Destruction in Universe 10 about Zamasu's deeds. Back in the future, Jiren Black would see that Jiren's mindset is absolute, but his own was not. Jiren Black would then sit down and begin to meditate, as he would be combining his 2 souls into one new power. Before heading back to the future, Trunks requests training from Jiren this time. He would believe that if he is able to learn Jiren's fighting style, then he can have an easier time with Jiren Black. Jiren agrees, but tells Trunks that he's doing it so he can finish this imposter for good. Trunks would decide to go into the time chamber with Jiren, so then he has all the time in the world to train. Jiren would not make things easier for Trunks though for one bit. He'd train him like he'd train himself when he was a child, and Jiren would actually like being a teacher, but would never actually admit it. Once they exit the chamber, Trunks is exponentially stronger, and I'm going to say that he'd attained Super Saiyan Rage much sooner because of Jiren, and his power-up would have made Trunks even stronger than Goku and Vegeta. Once heading into the future, Jiren and Trunks would take on Jiren Black. Jiren Black would have a hard time against Trunks and Jiren, and he would have to unleash a new power, which he would call his renowned Rose State. Jiren would decide that he would need to go full power to contend with this, and he tells Trunks that he's sorry that he wouldn't be able to get Trunks to meet the Pride Troopers. Trunks would be confused until Jiren would rush Jiren Black and grab him and fly off the planet at full power and speed, as he would push his limits even more and set off a final explosion into the sun, which would vaporize both Jiren and Jiren Black. Trunks would shout for Jiren and fall to the ground as he would feel ashamed, but Vegeta would go up to Trunks, saying that with him, hope will never die. Trunks would then thank his father, and he would vow to protect the future, and he continued to train, just as his master had done for him. Future Zamasu would be watching from the sidelines, as he would have predicted something like this would happen, and would decide that maybe his plan of taking the Saiyan's body would have been better. Either way, bye-bye Immortal. Now this next story will be what if Broly was raised by the Kais. For this story, we're going to say that Shin had a close eye on Broly since he was born with high potential. When he would be sent to Vampa, Shin and Gabito would intercept Broly's pod and take it with them to the realm of the Kais. Once arriving, they decide not to bring Paragus with them, so unfortunately, Paragus would die out on Vampa. With Broly, raising him wouldn't be too difficult, as Broly would be a kind soul, but whenever the boy would get angered, the Kais would have to make compromises. They would make sure to cut off Broly's tail at the first sight of a Great Ape, and would teach Broly about creation and their own techniques. Broly would become a full-blown adult soon enough, and would be content with his life. I don't see Broly being the pushy Saiyan, especially when all his life has been about peace. Broly would become a candidate for the Kais, like Kibito, and soon enough, the threat of Boo would come around. Now, this means that Broly wouldn't be involved in any of the Z portion until the Boo saga, and I really don't see the Kais making Broly doing anything that would involve him early, but I will say that they would be concentrating on his training for Boo for all that time. Broly would get the same type of training that Gohan and Future Trunks had, but for over an entire decade, and I'm positive that he would be able to free Elder Kai in that time, and even go as far as to awaken his potential. Broly's potential unleashed would have been very powerful, as this is where Broly could fight without worrying about losing control, and Broly's rage would only fuel his power, and would, this time, would not make him go crazy or berserk. Broly's going to join the story during the Boo saga, and I'm going to say that a Mystic Broly that's been training with the Kais for decades almost is easily stronger than Goku, even at his Super Saiyan 3. Jin, Kibito, and Broly would head to Earth during the tournament, and everyone would be surprised to see another Saiyan, and that this one is so passive but so strong. Vegeta would be angered by this, wondering about where the Saiyan came from and how he's so un-Saiyan-like. They would join the tournament where, from there, Gohan would show off his Super Saiyan 2 to Kibito, and from there, he'd get his energy stolen, and the group would head to where Babidi is. Once arriving, Broly is able to save Kibito from death, and he gets outraged with Deborah, and rushes towards him, and punches Deborah through the chest. Deborah spits out blood, and everyone is shocked to see this showcase of power. Babidi would be screwed, as Broly would be a beast, and he would need a plan to deal with the brute. Babidi would see that Vegeta is growing angry towards the Saiyan, and would possess Vegeta, but unlike his plan, Vegeta would have his own, and would target Goku instead. Babidi would try to get Vegeta to attack Broly, but it just wouldn't work. Broly would tell Goku that he can deal with Vegeta, but Goku would tell him not to jump in, as Vegeta is his problem, and that Broly should deal with that Babidi guy. Goku and Vegeta's fight goes as normal, and soon enough Boo is released. Goku and Vegeta would be shocked by this power and would both head over to see Broly preparing to face Boo. The Kais would tell Boo that he's ready. The Kais would tell Broly that he's ready and that he's been training his whole life for this one battle, and this would motivate Broly. In that moment, Broly would go full power and burst his aura out in green flames, but then condense into a calm, lightish aura. Everyone, including Majin Buu, would be pushed back by this intense power, with Goku surprised. He didn't think anything could surpass his Super Saiyan 3, unless maybe it was Gohan. This guy's power, it's almost legendary. Babidi would order Buu to attack, and Buu would rush in at full speed and punch Broly, but Broly wouldn't even flinch. Broly would then grab Buu by the face and squeeze onto it, smooshing it into a pink mush, and he would throw Buu into the air and begin a massive assault on the pink blob. Each one of Broly's blows would blow holes into Buu, and Buu would have little time to regenerate. Shin would yell to Broly that he has to destroy every bit of Buu, and Broly agrees and holds Buu with his own paralysis, which he learned from Shin. He then summons all of his rage and brews that into a fearsome mouth beam, which incinerates Buu. Babidi is beyond shocked from this, and from there, Vegeta blows a hole through his chest. Funny enough, this story actually becomes one where Broly actually gets rid of the Buu saga, all by himself. Kind of like the Masako what if Z Broly became good, but let me get on track. After this, Goku would ask Broly how he's gotten so much stronger, and Broly would reply that he's been training with the Kai since he was a child, and that he had gotten his potential unleashed by the other Kai. Goku would ask to train with him, and Broly agrees, and also asks something for him in return. Goku would look confused until Broly would say that Goku and Vegeta changed before into something stronger than a normal Saiyan, and that maybe Goku could teach him to go Super Saiyan. Goku agrees, and the two head to train in the realm of the Kais. Now, for this last one, it's going to be, what if Gine got the future sight, future vision, whatever it's called? So for this one, I have pretty good story, but it's kind of short and kind of requires more to emphasize on it. So what I'm thinking of doing with the story is, if it gets enough attention and people actually want it to be a full-blown series, I might make it one, because this is honestly a pretty good start. But with that out of the way, let me just continue. This story would start with Bardock's squad going to Kanasa, but for some reason, Gine would want to step up to the plate one last time. On the planet, and as the mission would end, Gine would come across a lone survivor and would apologize to them, and that she wishes their race will rest in peace. But before she ends the survivor's life, they offer a special power to her. Bardock would destroy him after seeing that he attacked her almost, and Gine would say that she's okay, but Gine would then faint, as she would have a flooding force of visions flash through her head. She sees her son, Kakarot, all grown up, and fighting Frieza. Gine would hold onto her head, as many visions would flood through her head, and Bardock would tell her that they should head back to planet Vegeta. Once they arrive back to the planet, Bardock tries desperately to communicate with his squad, and he is unsuccessful, and he begins to get worried. Gine would be dreaming, and in her dreams, she sees another version of a brave warrior facing off against Frieza, but unfortunately failing, with it ending with the demise of planet Vegeta. She then wakes up from this and goes over to find Bardock with his scouter. Gine would be panting of fear and running over to Bardock, telling her of the vision of planet Vegeta's destruction and his death. Bardock would be surprised, but instead of thinking his partner is nuts, he links her visions to his growing suspicions of Frieza, and now his own squad. Gine would decide it best to send Kakarot off planet, and that still happens, but Gine also makes a new plan. She decides that her people won't listen to her visions, and believes so. She decides to tell Bardock that they should escape when Frieza's forces are distracted. Bardock would hate this solution, as he would want to die of fire, but Gine replies that the future needs them in the present, not the past. They'll fight another day. As Frieza's attention is fully on the planet, Gine and Bardock make a run for it. They escape the planet and head to Earth. As they are traveling through space, Gine sees more visions in her sleep, with these visions being altered with a golden light at the end of the tunnel. There was another vision though that seemed like it was almost breaking reality, as space and time would rip apart, with a certain figure looking upon them all. What was that all about? Oh well, who knows. The two then arrive on Earth, where they find Kakarot's pod empty, with the two becoming concerned, until Gine sees a new vision of an old human man taking care and feeding Kakarot, but that Kakarot would have become a great ape and stomped onto the old man. Gine and Bardock then go around the forest until they smell a steam of food coming from a house. They would then meet Grandpa Gohan, who would be feeding Kakarot. Gohan would be confused on the two, but then he looks towards Kakarot and then towards Gine and Bardock and puts two and two together. Bardock would go over to Gohan, asking him what he thinks he's doing with their son, but Gohan assures him that he has only been taking care of the boy. Gohan does apologize, as the boy has fallen and hit his head, but now he seems to be okay. Bardock would get angered by this and get ready to punch Gohan, but Gohan slips the attack. Bardock is surprised that this human was able to dodge, but Gine stops the two and tells Bardock that in her visions, she did see Gohan taking care of Goku, or Kakarot. Bardock would then ease up, and Gohan would offer them two a meal. After the meal, Gohan asks Gine what she meant by visions, and Gine replies back that she has been getting visions of future events, and that she is utilizing them to change the future and to avenge her people. Gine would ask how he was able to dodge Bardock, and Gohan would say that he's had training from his masters, and maybe if they train for a bit, they'll be able to defeat Frieza. Gine likes the idea, and Bardock says that he'll avenge his people no matter what, but before that time comes, Kakarot will take priority, and that they all have to take a part in his life. Gine and Bardock would then go off into the world, seeking training, as Gohan will watch over Kakarot, but before they leave, they tell Gohan to keep Kakarot indoors over a full moon, or it will be to his own demise. Years would pass, with Kakarot going on his adventures as normal, as his parents would be doing the same, in training, as they would be training with Master Roshi. Gine and Bardock would check in on Kakarot from time to time, and would hear about his adventures, and they would face off against Kakarot for training. The story of Goku would happen as normal, but whenever crucial events would happen, Gine would foresee these and would want to stop it, but Bardock would actually step in, telling her that in order for their son to face off against Frieza in the future, he will have to go through everything the present offers for him. Gine would agree to this, until a strange vision of a Namekian would flash through her head, as she would see King Piccolo facing off against her son. Why is there a Namekian on this planet? She would wonder. And the day would come where Goku defeats Piccolo and Piccolo Jr. would run rampant. Things would finally become peaceful for the Saiyan family, with Gine's visions beginning to slow down after a while, with Gine being glad as her son would actually be engaged to Chi-Chi. But then, one more vision enters her mind. Her son, Raditz, and Frieza would be heading to Earth very, very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as it does give me more motivation when coming to these stories. And speaking about these stories, Gine had seen a weird vision concerning reality breaking around her. Was this vision for her future, or a different one? Now, we will be exploring that in the next upcoming episodes, so please make sure to stay tuned and that you're up to date with this series. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching the video, and yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Peace out.